troublemaker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make a whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Enough jumps, the middle finger make my yay.
Hello and welcome to Sports Buzz, the Fan-atical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this June, actually.
June we are in
2nd.
June.
Unbelievable. The calendar just keeps on flipping. And fortunately, the weather has, in the last couple of weeks since we've been here,
has improved.
Yeah, spring has come, or maybe summer has come already.
I think it's more summer.
I don't know that we got much of a spring, but we did get summer, so the weather has been hot and actually pretty nice out today. But we are here, back live. We were off last week, but we're here at 6:30 to 7, so the phone lines are open. 203-792-4101 is the number. We've got a lot to get to.
And this is number 199.
This is show 199. That means the next show is going to be a big special, 200th episode. You can stay tuned. An extra week. Graduation takes precedence next week, so we'll be off again as I check out my nephew's graduation. And then we will be back for, I believe we are doing an hour special on Thursday from 6 to 7. So we'll be in our time slot just a half hour early doing show number 200. I don't know what we're going to do, but I mean,
maybe we'll do some highlights from the past 200 shows.
We'll do something. Who knows?
At least the first half, anyway.
Let's officially say hello to my right-hand man, Mr. Bob Raw Jr.
Hi, Scott.
How you doing there, Bob?
I'm doing well.
You're looking good in this picture.
My
crossing guard duty.
Yeah, I only have 1 week to go. School will be out.
That's true. No snow days this year, so school gets out early.
Yeah, a week early.
Which is good for everybody, it seems like it's ending early, probably because it is. Bob's show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. What'd you show me? Show number 100?
Show number 100.
We're just knocking off big numbers around here with these guys. All right, and more Play for Purpose, right? Part 2?
Yep.
And that first one made the rounds online on YouTube. It's on the Play for Purpose page, on the Spotlight On page, on the Facebook, as it were. Of course, Mike Toohey is in there. Running things. Expose Cinema Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1 is his show. We are joined by both Connor and Jenna today. The production assistant extraordinaires doing damage in the studio, I'm sure.
The Met Maniac is not
Met Maniac is on overtime. He is not making it. And maybe he's just laying low because the Mets aren't playing that well.
And Strange Man, is he back on the ledge again?
I don't know. Maybe he's not liking the Penguins being up 2-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals.
I was hoping, I'm pushing more for the Sharks.
I'm not a big Penguins fan either. I'm definitely pulling for the Sharks with Jumbo Joe Thornton, the former Bruin. We'll get to that. But the Penguins up 2-0 after last night's overtime win. Not good. Speaking of championships about to be decided, actually, before we really get into it, Bob, let's make mention next week is the Danbury Westerners Celebrity Breakfast, Friday morning, June 10th. So a little write-up in the News Times this morning about it. Tickets are limited, but there's still a few available, right?
Right. And we will both be there.
Yes, we will. I'll be filming. Bob will be eating.
No, I'll be doing pictures, so.
George Foster will be there.
Yes.
So if you want to come down and see a former great player, two-time home run champion, RBI leader 3 times, 1975, 76, and 77.
With that Big
Red
Red
the
Machine.
league in home runs in 75 and 76 for the Big Red Machine when they went back-to-back World Series championships. One of those coming against my Red Sox.
Yeah, they
one
did
of the
some
greatest
damage against the
World
Red Sox.
Series of all time.
Yeah.
And he was also a former MVP one of those 3 years of Plus, he ended up playing for the Mets, right?
Yes.
Amongst other teams. And the first ever commissioner of the NECBL.
Yes.
So we should get some good stories out of him from his major league playing days, plus the beginning days of the NECBL, which passed its 20th year anniversary. Was that last year or 2 years ago?
We're in our 22nd year.
22nd year. So he can. I'm sure he's going to have plenty of good things to say. So get on down there. Tickets still available. Not many. But you could find that out. Go to westerners.com, DenverWesterners.com. I'm sure you could find some information there. Bob wants me to mention the American Legion Baseball getting started. 17U League and the 19U League. Season opener Saturday, June 11th, 11 a.m. as the music chimes in for us. 11 a.m. at Waterville Park. And their first home game, Sunday, June 12th. All home games to be played at Rogers Park, home of the Danbury Westerners. The 19U season opener, Saturday, June 4th. So that's this weekend. Versus Waterbury Post at Brookfield High School. And all their home games to be played at Brookfield High. More info at 203-744-5150. American Legion Baseball getting underway, and the Westerners' first game is the evening of the breakfast. So go down and get your breakfast in the morning. Listen to
next Saturday morning, we will have a clinic, free clinic for the kids
at Rogers Park.
Yep.
All right. So next Saturday is the clinic for the kids, the first home game, and there's a game Saturday night as well. So you got the clinic in the morning, as we got the schedule right there on the screen. They're home versus Plymouth. And SAN, I'm not sure who that is. Saturday night.
It should be right on your front there. It should have.
Who would that be? Sanford Maine.
Yes.
Is that a new team?
No, Sanford. That's Sanford Mariner. That's up Maine. That's a Maine team.
All right.
Because there's 13 teams this year.
For the first weekend. And then they'll be on the road, back home. They're all over the place. You know, they played pretty much every day for 2 months. Hopefully with the new coaching staff, new players, they can have a good year. They've been down and out.
2 returning players.
They have been down and out for the last couple of years, not doing so good. All right, so the NBA Finals gets underway tonight, and we get the rematch. We thought maybe for a second we would get the rematch of the Thunder versus Bron.
I was hoping for that, but it didn't happen.
But the Golden State Warriors' record-setting season of 73 wins continues as they came back from being down 3-1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and they responded as the defending champions would. It did not look like they were going to be able to do this because Oklahoma City was just pounding them through 4 games, especially in OKC in Game 3 and 4. But, you know, Golden State went back home for Game 5. They kind of pulled out that win, 120-111, not very convincing, and you thought for sure Game 6 was going to be the Thunder finishing it off, and they were winning throughout in that game, and that was the crucial game, really, as they were winning this game, you know, basically all the way into the fourth quarter. But Klay Thompson set the record for three-pointers in not only a playoff game, but in a regular season game as well. 11 threes, 41 points for Klay Thompson in that Game 6. They pull out the win as they took the lead late in the fourth quarter, ended up winning 108-101 against a shell-shocked, not just the Thunder team, but Oklahoma City fan base. Could not believe their eyes. They thought sure they were going to finish off the series, finish off that game, and go to the NBA Finals where the Cavaliers were waiting, but they did not do that. And then in Game 7, back in Golden State, Oaktown, they were down. Golden State was by 13 in the first half as the Thunder put behind them Game 6 for a while, but they could not hold on in the second half as it was Curry, the MVP, getting it done with 36 points, 7 three-pointers in that game, 32 total for the series, which is an NBA record, 32 three-point shots he made in the series. So they go back for the rematch against the healthy and rested Cleveland Cavaliers. Remember last year, the Cavs were injured, and this time around they got their full complement of players, Kevin Love healthy, Kyrie Irving healthy, and it took them 6 against Toronto, as Toronto did win Game 3 and 4 in Toronto. to give them a little bit of a workout. But in the end, in Game 6, it was coming back to Toronto. Braun and the Cavaliers beat them up all about the head, face, and chest area in a blowout going away. So they haven't played that many games at all because they swept the first 2 rounds. They've got plenty of rest. They're perfectly healthy. And Braun makes it back to the NBA Finals for the 6th straight time. Bob, I told you last time we were here that he's held the NBA and its fans hostage. The last time any player ever went to 6 straight NBA Finals was during the heyday of the Boston Celtics dynasty of the 60s. I believe 7 players from that dynasty made it to 6 straight finals as they went on to win a bunch of times. Unlike Braun, who keeps getting back. Those Celtics players were actually winning.
He keeps jumping from teams to teams, you know.
Yes, and he did it with 2 teams, with the Heat and now the Cavaliers back with them. He's 2-4 in the finals all time.
Right.
And he should be 1-5 if it wasn't for Greg Popovich blowing that series. And then Trader Allen hitting the desperation 3 to bail Braun out as he gagged it up in that Game 6. And then they came back to win Game 7. So he really should be 1-5 because we all saw the Spurs crush them in record-setting fashion the following year to get that championship they should have had the year before. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be tough. I mean, I would like to see the Warriors get more from their role players.
Right.
This is the problem I think they had in this series against the Thunder. They weren't getting enough from their role players. They were getting the big performances out of Klay Thompson and Curry. Draymond Green was pitching in a little bit, but he was even having his trouble. They need to get their guys, the role players, getting going, and I think Steve Kerr needs to coach it that way. I thought a bunch of times in this series, he was coaching a little bit scared, not using his depth on the team, and he was really just relying heavily on the star power. And that did work, and I do believe, they were going up against a good team in the Thunder, so that's also a reason why this series went 7. But we'll see what happens. Only 10 teams have ever rallied from being down 3-1, and 200 plus have lost in that situation in the NBA history. So it is a rare thing, but they got it done, and they are back to defend their title against the Cavs. And we'll see what happens as that gets underway tonight. Over in the NHL, the Stanley Cup Finals have already begun, and the Pittsburgh Penguins, much to Bob's chagrin and all of the Ranger fans' chagrin, the Bruins too. We don't have a great history with the Penguins either, but I think you guys have a little more animosity towards them than we do. But they are up 2-0 as they knocked off the Sharks last night in overtime. They took both of the first 2 games at home in the series. The Sharks rallied in Game 1 after being down early. They tied it late, but they gave up that goal with about 3 minutes to go to lose Game 1, 3-2. Last night, they tied it with about 4 minutes to go to force overtime. But about 2 minutes in, the Penguins got the sniper shot, and they won it in overtime. We mentioned Jumbo Joe Thornton, Bruins fans rooting for him to get his first ever Stanley Cup. He was the #1 overall draft pick in 1997. He led the Bruins to a President's Trophy a couple times. He was a leader in points, and he was an MVP of the league back in those days. Unfortunately for him, he was undone in the Bruins spoke B in black and gold there by the ghosts of Canadian Pass. 1999, I remember it well. I threw a bunch of furniture around in that series. And then in 2004, again, the Canadians in a 1-versus-8 situation, they did it to him again. He played that entire series injured, but the damage was done. The Bruins faithful couldn't stand it any longer. And remember, that was the famous, I think 99 might have been the famous Saku Koivu, Kyle McLaren series when I still say to this day, that was a clean shot that McLaren delivered on the breakaway. He just stood his ground and took out the Canadian captain on that play. But that was the end of McLaren in Boston, and it ultimately was the end of Jumbo Joe Thornton as well, as the Canadians cried a river in that series, and McLaren was suspended and they came back. I do believe that was the 99 series.
Right.
So I do remember that well. But anyways, so we'll see if San Jose can come back and Jumbo Joe can get his first ever Stanley Cup. He's making his first trip, and the Sharks as well. 25 years in the league, the 25th anniversary since they came into the NHL.
That's right.
And this is their first time. They did it by getting past the St. Louis Blues 4-2, winning that clinching game in St. Louis. So they have played great. They've been 5-1 in games before last night. I guess they're 5-2 now. When they lost so far in this postseason.
Right.
We'll see if they can show some of that resiliency as they head back to the Shark Tank in San Jose and they try to get it done. All right, we're going to move on because we do have a lot of other things to get to. We've been gone for a while. We will touch quickly on the Indianapolis 500.
Which was a very
Speaking of anniversaries, the 100th race. It was not the 100th year.
No, it's the 100th
I believe
race.
That was 1912, so about 4 or 5 years ago, perhaps.
Right.
Don't quote me on that, but I know the 100th anniversary of the running of the race, as far as years, was a few years back, but the 100th actual race took place this year, and an American rookie wins his first ever IndyCar win. Alexander Rossi. Sounds like an Italian to me.
Yes, it does,
But they say he's American. Maybe he's got some Italian heritage. All alone at the finish he was as he finished it off running out of gas in the last lap. He played the game and he won the game as the other leaders had to pit, and he timed it right and had just enough gas to get through and over the finish line in a good race. I actually was in and out of the race. I was watching a good amount of it on Memorial Day there, and it was pretty good. But I was a little surprised when I tuned back in and I saw no one around him as he was coming down the wire to win it, because it was a close race. A lot of jockeying back and forth. But he wins it. Andretti Sports gets the win as he's part of their team. The last time a rookie won it, 2001, Helio Castroneves had done it, and in 2000 as well, I think Juan Carlos Montoya, whatever his name
Pablo
is.
Montoya.
Yeah.
The air dry breaker.
He won it in 2000 as a rookie as well, but those guys were a little bit more well known.
Right.
They had been on the circuit for a while in other, lesser tours, but Rossi kind of comes out of nowhere and he gets it done. So hats off to him. He got the first win. Speaking of racing, we did miss.
Quick on.
What do you got?
Since we're doing racing,
Okay. I see you're wearing your Snyder shirt.
Yes. NASCAR this past week, Martin Truex won at the races this past week.
Okay.
And he led for almost all but 8 laps.
All but 8 laps. That is unheard of.
Yes.
Our guy Joey Logano, the Middletown kid, out of Connecticut there, he won that All-Star race a couple weeks ago. We were away for that.
And he came in 3rd last week.
I think he was on the pole, or was he?
He was on the pole.
Leading up to it. He had won that race 2 years in a row, I think. So they were wondering if he was going to win. So it was nice to see his name. We were talking last time we were here. We hadn't heard his name much at the beginning part of the season. So at least he won that crazy All-Star race they had and finishing 3rd in this race. So Joey Logano, maybe we'll start hearing more of him and he'll start winning again like he did last year. Remember, the end of his season went awry. The big wreck, he was taken out when he was leading in the points race. Looked like he was going to win the championship, but he did not. All right, speaking of other racing. With animals involved, I do want to mention the Preakness took place while we were gone, and in the rain, it was exaggerated.
It was a mud.
Yeah, this was a very big muddy day. Heavy slop in the rain down there in Baltimore. We knew it was going to be that way, and we knew it was going to be problems for Nyquist, and it was a problem. He had really, he held on for that 3rd spot. He was in lead a part of the race, but Exaggerator, if you were watching, you saw him coming. You saw that he was going to actually pull away and win this race, which he did. So there will be no Triple Crown.
No.
And we're not going to get the rubber match either because Nyquist is out of the Belmont Stakes as he has a low white blood cell count, the flu or something after the race. He did not respond well to the rain, cooler temperatures. He wanted nothing to do with nothing. So he is out. so we will not have a repeat of last year. American Pharaoh gets to bask in the glory a little bit longer as the Triple Crown winner from last year. All right, let's touch quick on the French Open. I know on the men's side, Murray versus Wawrinka is going to take place. I did not see the results today, if Djokovic won or not on his side. Nothing big happening for the men. Nadal, we were hoping maybe he could come back. He had a decent clay court season this year. He looked healthy again, but he injured his wrist, re-injured it, so he pulled out midway through the tournament last week. And we know Roger Federer was already out. So it's going to be Murray versus Wawrinka, and probably we'll see them facing off against Djokovic on the men's side. And on the women's side, a lot of rain. Speaking of rain, a lot of rain. They had their first ever washout, full day of no events the other day in quite some time in Paris. But it's Serena on her side. Samantha Stosur, the Australian, we know she's won a major here and there. She's really the last standing woman. We'll see if she can get it done and advance to the final against Serena. Venus made it not quite to the quarterfinals. She got knocked out. And all the other top women complained that they even played yesterday because the conditions were not good at all. But they made them play because they were behind schedule and they had to get it moving. All right, some other international sporting events as we keep rolling. Are we inside 10 minutes yet? I think you gave me that notice. Yes, we are.
Yes.
Soccer, I've been tuning in, Bob, because the Copa America starts tomorrow, and the Club USA has not been playing well leading up this year, since really the World Cup. But they had 2 friendlies in the last week and a half, and it looked like maybe, just maybe, they've got things turned around as they took care of Bolivia 1-0 and Ecuador 4-0. Go back to that. There we go. This kid right here, Bob. I forget his name. 17-year-old kid on the squad, and he scored a great goal, as a matter of fact, in the Ecuador game as they pulled away 4-0. And it was the first time in a long time we saw Team USA actually having fun on a soccer pitch. We'll see what they do. We got the Copa America schedule there, or the bracket. If we go back to that shot, they face off against Colombia. They clearly got the toughest draw with Colombia, Costa Rica, and Paraguay. In their match, they got Colombia Friday night, Tuesday versus Costa Rica, Saturday versus Paraguay. But if you look, Brazil, who do they get? Ecuador, Haiti, and Peru?
What about
Mexico, which is a great team. I think they're probably the favorite. They get Uruguay, which is tough, but they get Jamaica, the Reggae Boys, who have had success recently in some of these international tournaments, and Venezuela. So that's kind of a tough bracket. Argentina with Messi. They get Chile and Panama and Bolivia. So there's good competition all around, but I don't think USA got a favorable draw as they get Colombia, who is number 4 in the world right now. They get that Friday night tomorrow. I will be tuned in for that. I do want to mention also Euro Cup starts next week, June 10th versus July 10th. So I'll be locked into soccer for the next month, really.
See how Italy does this year.
We'll see. While we're going to take a moment to update the MLS standings, because we got to get to baseball real quick, since we haven't done much of that. The Red Bulls at second place in the East with 19 points, 6-7-1. NYCFC, fourth place at 18 points. Remember last year, in their first year in the league, they did not do well, so good for the locals to be seeing them. And, of course, they play their home games at Yankee Stadium, giving fans of New York sports at Yankee Stadium probably more to cheer about than the Yankees, Bob.
Yeah, I know. They have not been having much to cheer about.
They're 5-4-4 at 18 points. The Revolution outside the playoff standings right now in 8th, but they're only 2 points behind out of the spot. A lot of ties for the Revolution, 3-4-7. They won their last 2, though, I believe, so maybe they're getting their situation going. And I do want to mention the U.S. Open Cup tournament is going on as well, and the Cosmos, who won their conference last year and won the first half of their season this year, they are set to face NYCFC on June 15th. So stay tuned for that, and a big matchup of 2 New York-based teams in the U.S. Open Cup. I think they're in the 3rd round of that right now. All right, let's get to some baseball. I want to mention quick, UConn baseball won the American Athletic Conference They're the champions of that, and they play Georgia Tech tomorrow in the NCAA tournament. Also want to make mention, first ever female Jenny Finch, female coach of a baseball professional team.
Right.
And she did it right up here in Bridgeport. Got a beautiful day. They won the game for the Bridgeport Bluefish. So that was great. I think we have some pictures of Mike can find those of Jenny Finch, who was a former great, I believe, for Arizona, right? And probably for Olympic fame when they had, I don't think softball is in the Olympics now, but remember softball was in the Olympics for a while. But I remember watching her for Arizona.
She's been up to WestCon a few times.
Oh, has she really? She's obviously very attractive, still looking really good, and she was a phenomenal pitcher for Arizona as they won College World Series for softball. So that was pretty interesting to see her right there in Bridgeport, and it was a nice day. We'll keep our eye on that, see if she's continuing to do that. All right, let's get to Major League Baseball. We only got a few minutes left. The Red Sox go for the series victory tonight in a battle of first place in the AL East, 32-21 against the Orioles at 29-22. They lost a slugfest last night.
Oh, yeah.
How about Mookie, Bob?
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable. He goes back-to-back, first 2 innings on 2 nights ago, leads off the game, and then in the second inning, he hits a home run as well. He did it again last night.
Yes. He did.
Unbelievable. First time ever. We're waiting on the official Elias statistical analysis of this, but I believe it was the first time ever a leadoff hitter hit home runs in his first 2 at-bats in the first 2 innings, nonetheless, ever in the history of Major League Baseball. He hit 5, he hit 3 in the game 2 nights ago, so 5 home runs in 7 at-bats Mookie had. Unreal. Jackie Bradley Jr.'s hitting streak went by the boards, but watch out for the X-Man Xander Bogaerts. He's up to 25. Bradley had 29. So the Red Sox hitting on all cylinders, and they are in first place. The Yankees swept away in Toronto, Bob. Fall to 24-28. Remember, Bob, they had won, 6 in a row. They looked like they were riding the ship, and what happened? A-Rod came back. And now all of a sudden they're losing again. With him batting what, like 120? Mark Teixeira batting like 130. They stink, Bob. Jays now above 500 at 29-26. Royal, 30 seconds?
That's what I'm getting told.
Oh, wow. We got the go from 3 minutes to 30 seconds in a flash. All right. Well, your Mets, Bob, you want to say anything as we say goodbye?
Yeah, they
pitching,
13,
not good.
13
hitting,
walks.
Well, the bullpen, not good, and the hitting, not so good either. All right. We got to a lot of things. I wanted to get to baseball a little bit more than that, but we'll have to come back in 2 weeks for our 200 show to get that done. All right. We are out of here. Thanks for tuning in. We'll
have a good weekend.
202 weeks. See ya.